My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. See thepatternofconduct.wordpress.com.
It's 12:44 a.m. That's amplified audible activity. And you're also witnessing what is the criminal, a pathetic and desperate stalker, surrounding with a demonic environment, engaging what is stalking by helicopter activity, following immediately by the sound of train activity, while the entity is stalking me at the Ontario Museum. This is group stalking at the Ontario Museum. Not only that, what you're listening to is the entity immediately turning down the volume of what is amplified at a much greater volume when I'm not recording. That is the personality of Satan. I want to be clear, Satan is actually a coward. Satan is also that which is engaging in what is stalking. That's inherently a loser, by the way, who was also a criminal. And this is the state of California that's monitoring the company Union Pacific, engaging in what is terrorism, group stalking at 12:44 a.m., and doing so with the state of California, who was stalking by helicopter. Moments prior to this, the entity sounding helicopter activity, and doing so while these psychopaths, these group stalkers, these sex offenders who are molesting with directed light, are listening to me sleep at the museum, sounding helicopter activity, and also interested in what is avoiding capture, either on podcast or in video. All right, and so this is why the entity is engaging in what is at a much louder volume, the sound of the train, immediately as I press record. And so I just want to be clear with regard to what's that criminal motive and what's relevant to the prosecution for terrorism. That's relevant, the entity's pattern of conduct, and engaging in what is the obsessive use of this method for purposes of also harassment as an entity that's obsessively stalking, which is inherent to the condition of what is demon possession. This is demonic, and it's also speaking to what is stalking with the people of the state who are engaged in surveillance all around the museum, where the entity is concentrating activity and presence in concert and on behalf of the state of California. It's currently 12:45 a.m. and it is, again, the Ontario Museum of History and Arts. It's 12:46 a.m. The entity on Wednesday, May 11, 2022, group stalking with the state of California, who was using helicopters to maintain presence around me at the same venue, engaging in that same pathetic conduct of stalking an American citizen while I'm snoozing, I'm asleep, and the entity's obsessed with what I'm doing, stalking me. That's my stalker, the state of California. And you have what are the state of California, who I continue to document, the Ontario Police Department. They're going to federal prison for this documentation that I continue to accumulate. The people of the state, as I've documented, I'm reminding you about minions such as the venue of the Ovid Family Community Library, engaging in what is harassment. This minion, that company Securitas, the African American security, she's going to federal prison, and she knew that. That's why she engaged in what is harassment today, engaging in what is maniacal conduct while she's reacting to what is my documentation when I'm not even addressing her. While I'm documenting the same criminal system at the museum, she's going to federal prison as I continuously document that psychopath who's a sex offender associated with that company at the Ovid Family Community Library, including Sean Thrasher. All right, as I'm documenting the entity that's stalking me while I'm documenting the people of the state and documenting the government that's following me around by helicopter, that same entity is group stalking right now. I am documenting who is Stephanie Ortiz, who's going to federal prison, okay? The entity that is group stalking on a constant basis, that's the entity that's using the sound of a train and immediately turning down that volume of the train the moment that I press record. All right, the fact that the entity is group stalking in these methods, the fact that you're stalking, period, using a whole train and helicopters is pathetic. That's one thing. And then you're also capturing what is group stalking by a demon-possessed and disturbingly obsessed entity. That is group stalking all together. And it is the documentation of the people of the state. Naming them is only a sample. This is prosecution for the people of the state. The people of the state are all catching this federal prosecution together as the demon-possessed entity that they are, stalking together. It's 12:48 a.m. on Wednesday, May 11, 2022. This is P.O.C. And that is the puppet of Satan that's engaging in what is monitoring me and stalking at the Ontario Museum, as I stated is the case, as I captured on video at 1:22 a.m. The entity that is, this is literally, again, this is exposing both the condition of the government that's monitoring and stalking me. This is a demon that has access to a helicopter representing the government, the state of California, that's engaging in criminal monitoring. It is also speaking to what is obsessive stalking by an entity that's doing so in concert with the people of the state that I continue to document by the masses, engaging in this criminal system together. And that's why at 1:22 a.m. at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts, while I'm being molested with directed light, the entity is indeed engaging in what is crossing path. This is a demonic pattern of conduct where criminal monitoring is underway. And this is terrorism that the state of California is engaging in. It's 1:22 a.m. That is indeed the entity that I stated. It's not going anywhere. That demon is flying in circles, engaging in what is ongoing obsessive stalking, and doing so by helicopter. And doing so, as I'm documenting, this is the same exact minion that is the people of the state that I'm documenting by name, by license plate during the day, in directed light, which I remain molested by, surrounded by, terrorized by, on behalf of this very government that I'm capturing. This is literally punctuating the documentation. This is literally the evidence against the people of the state. It's the state's pattern of conduct. The state is practicing this satanic conduct, which is the criminalization of that satanic conduct while they're placing an American citizen under surveillance. And that's why I'm capturing what is stalking by helicopter at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts at 1:23 a.m. The entity is just doing laps around me, all right, by helicopter, just obsessive stalking, okay? You are following the one that is stalking the one that is prosecuting you. And it's 1:23 a.m., and this is the evidence against the people of the state while the government's engaging in that stalking. It is 1:23 a.m. again on Wednesday, May 11, 2022 at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts. This is P.O.C. It's 2:39 a.m. That is the sound of a train where there is no train on the track. The loud volume speaking to the close presence of a train. This is speaking to what is surrounding me with noise reminiscent of the sound of the train. That's based on the venue that I'm at, the museum, where the entity is group stalking and surrounding with noise and engineered light, and also stalking with activity. Immediately sounding the sound of a train as I engage in what is abrupt movement, sleeping outside in a sleeping bag. All right, this is stalking with activity. This is terrorism. That's demonic conduct. This is exactly what the people of the state are doing while the entity is aiming directed light, keeping directed light all over me, while minions are pacing all around, group stalking, stalking with noise, while outside the entity is stalking with noise. The method is the sound of a train, which, by the way, is not on any track, not approaching. The entity is immediately sounding this sound of the train as I engage in what is movement after remaining stationary. The entity is doing so while also creating the sound of the train, which is sounding as though a train is approaching, sounding as though a train is leaving, and that's indicated by what's the sound of the volume that's vacillating. And the entity is also engaging in that same vacillation of volume and creation of noise based on my recording or not recording. So I want to document that. It is currently 2:41 a.m., and this is what I mean by demonic activity. There is not necessarily any train present on the track in order for the sound of the train to occur. In the same way, the people of the state are group stalkers who are monitoring, engaging in surveillance inside of a venue, for example. And the entity is creating what is ongoing noise, including created by them, those demons, the demon-possessed third parties themselves, but also the entity surrounding with what is the demonic creation of noise around me, while demons are nothing other than maintaining presence around. It is the demonic conduct of an entity that's engaging in criminal activity, criminal monitoring. All right. It is demonic activity. So this is what I mean when I'm describing with regard to, yes, you hear the train. Yes, you see the fake sun. It's right there. It's the light source, but it is not the natural environment. It's an impossibility that that light source is there. Also, that's not even sunlight that surrounds. That's directed light, the abnormal character of that light, and also the amplification of sound, the use of sound to stalk, follow, mirror with noise while that light and group stalkers surround. That's the P.O.C. All right, it's currently 2:42 p.m. This is 2:42 a.m. And the entity that is obsessively stalking by helicopter is monitoring while the use of the sound of a train is used to engage in what is surrounding me with ongoing noise. All right, and this is the demonic activity of a government that's engaging in what is federal stalking. It's currently 2:42 a.m. This is P.O.C. That is the prosecution of, again, a company to be identified while this demonic activity is underway, and that is Union Pacific. All right, it is 2:42 a.m., so I'll let you listen to this. The entity is doing nothing other than creating an ongoing soundtrack while and you doing so under the guise of what is the sound of a train. That's what I'm documenting over and over again, and it's the same thing while the entity is flying in circles above by a helicopter, amplifying the sound, a demon flying a helicopter in circles, which those demons are still doing right now while the use of activity is sounding of a train. Okay? This is P.O.C. Criminal summoning. Ontario Fire Department before the what is American Medical Response. These are minions again, engaging in state surveillance, circling around the museum, and alternating methods of literally being a psychopath, group stalking while sounding sirens. The Ontario Fire Department and American Medical Response right now at 5:33 a.m. The Ontario Museum of History and Arts is the venue where they are concentrating what is the sound of amplified audible activity, monitoring with the entity that is monitoring to that sound of sirens. This is criminal summoning. The people of the state are monitoring to that sound of sirens and doing so while I remain surrounded by an entity, a demon-possessed one, engaging in what is that criminal act. Let me be clear. The people of the state are prosecuted for engaging in criminal summoning with the entity. The entity is engaging in what is facilitation as it uses sirens as a method of audible activity while monitoring with communication devices. And there are demons that are stalking with audible activity. It's amplified audible activity while they are stalking as a pack in the path, and while they are stalking in the path with engineered light, right, which is the elements of monitoring. It's also demonic activity. This is documentation of criminal summoning, and again, it's 5:33 a.m. Moments earlier, the entity sounding sirens. This is the ongoing ritualistic stalking activity by the entity. The Ontario Fire Department, the American Medical Response monitoring, and they are monitoring with the Ontario Police Department as well. This is facilitation. The people of the state are monitoring. All right, this is Ontario Museum of History and Arts. This is P.O.C. It is 8:06 a.m. I'm at the intersection of Euclid and Hope Boulevard, leaving the property of the Ontario Museum of History and Arts. And I will detail that in a necessary conversation. Well, not a conversation, in a necessary... I want to examine more thoroughly and publish what the entity engaged in right now at the museum. And it's relevant to what I've documented before, and so I'm going to go into that. I will go into that later. But nonetheless, the Ontario Police at the Ontario Museum in the specific environment. All right, but right now documenting the people of the state who are monitoring, and they were monitoring while the Ontario Police were at the Ontario Museum, pursuant to criminal summoning. All right, but as of right now, it's currently 8:07 a.m. License 6LKX 617 7EO 1644. License 7TES 772, bus 1361, that's Omnitrans. Ontario Montclair School District, license 1544465. All right, directed light while they're crossing path. They are the same exact demon-possessed entity, and so that's also relevant to what Ontario Police, their presence and speaking to regardless of the substance of the exchange. And so, like I said, I will expound upon that momentarily. License 60747W2, Central Transport Crossing Path. License plate 7NKM168. I read that one. 6NCM415. Yeah, I read that one. 05047G3 8VRM931. License 1617907, and that is that's a third-party molesting, Ontario Montclair. Minor child on the bus of molesting, a sex offender. License 1617907. 6ECE056. 74372W1. 22908. 22908T2. 6BZS868. 73749A3. 7RLL939. And it's currently 8:09 a.m. Eight EOB 287. Let me get error mark. Group stalking with the Ontario Police and the people of state. SOTOTKG. Error mark corporation under the fake sun. Engaging in kidnapping. Symbolic threatening with the Ontario Police whose person pursuant. Just want you to see that. This is license 96925F3. I want to make sure I document that. This is how demons engage in what is threatening you with a smile on your face, offering to get you coffee. All right. How can I help you? While they're monitoring you, while the entity is stalking by helicopter, while third parties engage in what is present on behalf to communicate a threat. That's what Aramark Corporation represents. Aramark Corporation, by the way, engaged in what is kidnapping while the entity acting with the Ontario Police engaged in kidnapping inside of the state facilitating venues. License 5XXT171, 7EHG187, 50875K1. License. And Aramark is a sex offender, molesting me while kidnapped and molesting right now, 15292G1. The entity filled its state facilitated venues with what is directed light, 91649R1. The sheriff's going to be prosecuted as a sex offender. All right, engaging in surveillance. I'm running across the street, that's why you hear that. I needed to get that license plate real quick. It is 8:11 a.m., 4CRL815, 6ZGR132, DARLN2, 6AWW685, 6AWW685, 11657D3, JS, hold on. That says JSZ7AEM. I don't know what that says. JS27AEM. 7CYY945, 6LIC023, 8HSA545. And it's 8:11 a.m. (6YDZ579, 8VAG614). Student Transportation of America, Crossing Path. 9AHH811. I read that list. 6JGD507. Liz Transport. 86622G2. And this is 7ZOV346. Please crack me up. Liz Transport is a minion. You can see the directed light on the passenger side of the truck. A large square, and then we've got a smaller, more vibrant square shape of direct light. 39950C3, 7SHR244, 6J05. Well, I can't really see the rest of that one. License 8HUP139, 12073. That's a large truck. 8WJJ155, GDS1. I want to read those license plates. It's 8:13 a.m. and the entity is keeping the light source over the same intersection where it's present at 7 o'clock in the afternoon, where it was present over me at 1:45 in the afternoon, where it was present at the same exact intersection as I documented after 4 o'clock in the afternoon. 4DNY 385. And that's where I'm walking to that same bus stop where I was at. This is definitely the pattern of conduct. 5BHF 077. 6VOF 732. And it's 8:14 a.m. License 4XUU 896. SJU 566, CC 94A61 paper, 9ANG 856, 1VEL 248, 7RGZ 025, 5UOP 586, NWP 7966 Texas, 7KTG 161, 7L6015, 8YZP 635, 8LKS 377, 5CDL 926. 7508 3P1 7EDM 077 7UTU 563 or 7UIU 563. 6VUR 838 6D VY 969 22577G2. Student Transportation of America's crossing path again, crossing on Hope Boulevard, going westbound. BL4NY6, I believe. That's a paper plate on a white Toyota Camry. 6UOM. I can't really see that when we start talking. 8XBM 203 7GMG 798 30541N1 8UJD 322 6K 78180 Argonne's Kitchen. It's on the side of that truck. 8XVX 336, 8JTH 961, 8ZBS 122, 7BCL 315, 7EIH 484, 5GXN 692, 8KPD 345, 1548, 536, JP Joint Union High School, terrorizing with directed light, 7PGS 419, CNECTD 8XXW 880, 8FBB 398, EABOSS 8URH 824, 8TXH310, 8J56379, 7X71100, 8KCG365. All right, and these demon-possessed third parties driving these school buses, children on the bus. Let me be clear, Satan in custody of young children. operating literally in control of their lives. 65943 paper, suppose you drive, molesting with directed light, going out of their way to touch on me while they're on the opposite side of the street. That's suppose you drive. They also have a facilitating video on Hope Boulevard, 8XAU100. And these demons driving these school buses are engaging in what is sexual violence, touching me with directed light, 5JDT911. And while then they have children on the buses, okay? Again, this is analogous to what are the demon-possessed third parties who are in custody carrying their children on their hip or pushing a stroller or having them in the back seat, and then engaging in what is stalking somebody else. This is the entity that's engaging in what is terrorizing, sexually violating another while you are in the custody of children, which is a threat to those children. While you're targeting somebody else, you do not know what's in the mindset of that other person that you're targeting. You do not know where they are at with regard to what the infliction that the entity is engaging in, stalking day in and day out with helicopter, stalking and terrorizing by a demon-possessed entity that's molesting, terrorizing with directed light. You're stalking them day and night by a whole bunch of strength. You don't know the mindset of that. And then you're bringing your children to monitor. That's a threat to the safety of those children. All right, 48382Y1. It's also a threat, period, while you're engaging in what is absolutely criminal and terrorizing conduct with a government that is engaging in the criminal pattern of conduct with those who are bearing weapons, those who are targeting, stalking with helicopters. This is all manner of what is an environment full of what is essentially combat, and you're bringing children into that. This is no normal atmosphere where you're just driving around your children down the street. No, there are a bunch of demons that are monitoring together. That's a threat to the children. And then you're engaging in terrorizing another person, 00390Y2, while you have those children with you, okay? Either in your back seat or on a bus where you're driving. And they're engaging in terrorism while they're doing so, while they're crossing paths, engaging in terrorism. BF19X85, that's Ontario Montclair School District. 7FKP845, that is Chaffee Joint Union High School. And their crossing path, again, this is the strip down of the entire system. Those demons are engaging in what is raw, threatening terrorism. And suppose you drive, but they're not in custody of children. They're engaging in what is the pattern of conduct of being a demon and stalking in the path, 37179U1, being an obsessed stalker and doing so on behalf of that entity. They're doing the bidding of the government and that company and those demons driving that vehicle, and where they're facilitating the entire of suppose you drive, that whole little aspect of the P.O.C. for that third party. But nonetheless, 5RRS258 and TANK55, the entity engaging in that criminal activity. This is why I'm documenting it, and this is what the people of the state routinely engage in, which is what the state of California routinely engages in, and that's directly relevant to the ways in which you're prosecuting. What's going to be also relevant when you are prosecuted as a group stalker, what your job is, what threat you pose to the population while you are of a condition which is relevant to the public now. Demon possession, 8KNW023. It's directly relevant because of the criminal conduct that you're engaging in, that you are prosecuted as engaging in as a matter of objective evidence and doing so on behalf of a government. All right, J696HO. So I want to expose that, and this is sexual violence while Ontario Montclair School District, and you've seen it very clearly. The minions driving Visser buses, Ontario Montclair School District, 6YPZ468. I believe I captured a student transportation doing the same, 6PAK443, Chaffee Joint Union High School, definitely. And these are those that are in the position of driving around children in the custody of children. These are the same ones you see on the news, ladies and gentlemen, having tragic quote-unquote accidents, children dying while they're on school buses. 6V95672. And you don't know the actual condition of those that are in the position of being in the custody of minor children or teenagers, those are under the age of majority, when they're subject to what is a supposedly an accident, amongst an entity that engages in literally making up information, and the entity is acting as they are acting as one. You don't know what is the malice behind that, and these are just threats that are posed by an entity like this that I'm exposing, like I said, and they're engaging in monitoring me while they're in those positions. Those are the same ones that are driving school buses, driving minor children around, and then you're talking about what are tragic accidents that they claim happen. 26199K2. All I'm doing is pointing out what's going on a daily basis. Pointing out what's going on a daily basis. All right? License CH27. Why would you ask me that? Like I own the bus stop. That's a minion. That's a third party. 6SQV576. It's audible activity. License plate. BV3, I can't see that one, 8XBE874, 8E63605, 7JXB, I can't really see that one, everything, 6WEF099, license 8XJG937. So So like I'm stating, this is why you need to understand, not only for purposes of what I am prosecuting, I'm also exposing, and it is for the general knowledge of the public, the world. You need to know those that are of this condition. It is something that you are capable of knowing. It is something that you need to know because it provides you ongoing context. The information that you're never going to get on any news report or any police report or any investigation or with regard to what's actually underway, what's relevant to what's supposedly the narrative that you're given with regard to what's happening with your children, those of that condition that are in the custody of your children, even those who are parents and guardians over children, as I discussed before. This condition, the demon possessed, right? This is how you're witnessing that. So I just want to be clear on that. That's directly relevant. And this is how evil manifests itself many times, calling it a tragic accident, calling it an unforeseen incident, calling it something that's unknown. They don't know what happened. They're investigating it. The same exact entity, the people of the state, all right, engaging in such conduct. All right, it's currently 8:24 a.m. License 8SVC567. First student is crossing path. I don't see their license plate, but the logo is first student.
I didn't know that was still up there. We've been there over 30 years.
It's 8:25 a.m. Eight GHB 986, 8L 42021, 6RIG 339, 4TQR 035, 7YXK 395, 8RKT 587, 8RDJ 714, 8KQH 608, 8TIG 977, 6CHB 174, and it's 8:25 a.m. 9 AUV 342. 9 AFT 593. Student Transportation of America is crossing path. And crossing path again. Ontario Montclair School District crossing path. License plate YDUTCH 6PMH 892. Amtrak is crossing path, turning onto transit from Euclid Avenue. It's 8:26 a.m. That's a minion stalking with audible activity, and what you hear over here is nothing other than a minion creating ongoing noise. Monitor.
Like that hat. That's a Stetson. Is that a Stetson? Huh? That's a Stetson hat.
SoCal Edison crossing path.
That's it. That's it.
Dollar General crossing path in a commercial vehicle. Okay. License 8XNS233. AH94495. That's Arizona. That's TRW Trucking. Touching with directed light. Yeah, TRW Trucking. And the back license plate on TRW Trucking is 7805KF. That's Nebraska. 6XGB829. And 1302048. Chaffee Joint Unit High School. Chaffee Joint Unit High School 1302406. Chaffee Joint Unit High School 1302404. A bunch of demons spreading directed light while the group stalking. 85814R1. 7FTR372. 63511K3. And Chaffee Joint Union High School is a sex offender molesting with TRW Trucking, manifesting light in the same way while TRW Trucking comes as close as possible in order to touch me, and they're demons that are monitoring together. That's a sex offense. That's a demon. That's a bunch of sex offenders as well, understand, driving around children, okay? Engaging in what is supposedly, again, the intention to be a matter of public corruption, that which they're doing, which would be unknown. Their condition is known, their sexual violence, and their criminal conduct, all of which is known as the Chaffee Joint Union High School, engaging in that with the people of the state. They're all group stalking together while they're on a bus route driving children, okay? That's what's relevant. And those are the very actors, the third parties, and this is what's relevant when you're prosecuting as group stalkers. That's criminal record with regard to a sex offense and the fields, the industries that group stalkers will be banned from, all right? And that's just based on their condition, which is relevant to the threat that they pose, the criminal conduct that they're engaged in, that they are prosecuted as a matter of law as having been engaged in with a government, okay? You're literally a terrorist and a sex offender and a psychopath, which is what demon possession is. That's one that's it's lawlessness that's on the loose, seeking to conceal itself because you can't physically see demon possession on a person. Oh, but you know it. An unmistakable environment. Brink security. License plate 2961971. 6CTK431. 7VZN227. 8MJC624. 30277F. I can't see the last character. BR40603. 445UY, 7HZZ625, 5BGW362, 8KXG. I can't see the rest of them though. It ends with 75, but I can't see it, so it's fine. You can scratch that one. It's 8:30 a.m. 6D92096, 5CCB286. 6Z38967, 5JBZ685, 6VNM188, 5RFT228. And it's 8:30 a.m. And again, like I said, the minion that you hear operating communication devices monitoring all that ongoing molestation with directed light, they're monitoring together. The fake sun is over the bus stop. This is the same bus stop where it's present after 4 o'clock in the afternoon. These are demons, and they're monitoring together. This is surveillance at a bus stop. It's 8:31 a.m. License. I can't see that one. XP78222, I believe. And the back license plate 4UF3578. Molesting with directed light. License 6CST367, molesting as well. 4WYP363, 8809682, 7CKW160, 7RWC336, 7EPZ168, 8CBS812, 210013, 210013, 7ZUC780, 5887383, 82993J1, 7SMR236. All right, that's a sex offender. And Omnitrans arriving. It's at 8:33 a.m. License 1545682. Bus 2343.
Hello. Sorry about that.
This is P.O.C. on Omnitrans. Crossing path and then coming back to
Is this really you?
This is monitoring.
Who your Ray-Bans
Amtrak
at?
license P945874. Crossing path with directed light.
Hey, people, look. I'm gonna get past. No, look, I'm gonna tell you something.
Okay, do you mind if I get past you so I can sit down? Thank you.
Sorry about that.
Excuse me.
Excuse me. Sorry about that. We're going uptown.
It is 8:34 a.m. This is P.O.C. So, and that is Amtrak that's monitoring off of the bus as Amtrak crosses path, directed light on the asphalt while this minion is just engaging in what is obnoxious, loud speech. He walks on the bus past the bus driver, and it's actually what is pacing. He walks by, it disregards the bus driver, and then he walks back toward the bus driver, which is pacing. And this is the form, oh, I forgot to give you my bus pass. He's actually pacing. Amtrak crosses path with directed light on the street, just like while I'm sitting outside. They're monitoring together while the bus is stationary. And the fake sun is right here. It's at 8:34 a.m. And again, the bus driver is the same one documented, employee number 2366. His name is David. This is a sex offender that's monitoring, as I documented yesterday, while the entity was stalking by helicopter, engaging in that terrorism. The fake son remains present, and David is monitoring with the minions that are on this bus. This is terrorism that you're subject to, so it's 8:35 a.m.
Train buses will not operate on Memorial Day, but will return to normal service the following day. We salute our service members, both present and past, and thank you for your service.
Alrighty, this yelling is occurring in directed light. Even the announcements, it's all audible activity. You're understanding what is the ongoing formula: noise and engineered light and group stalking presence. Alright, it's 8:36 a.m. 49444H2.
I am. You know.
8XAU100.
Oh, she got a stop sign.
6CTK4. I can't see that one. 7N7. Excuse me. 7N67961. I believe.
Hey, DJ. I'm gonna get this.
7FZB071.
Nephew. Tell me about what happened when the crash happened. Crash. I'm gonna put on credit. I ain't put on credit. I'm put on
Stop
credit.
requested.
You got another crash? I ain't never got no crash on my
HCN1183 Texas 8E63605. That's Landeto's Landscaping.
Mexican now.
Let's see. License plate. Lights. The fake sign. I'm at Euclid Avenue and
Are you black or Mexican?
E Street. 434 North Euclid Avenue. 8SJC561.
I'm black again. This dude gonna drop me off over here. And I'm mess this street up there. That's a living area. Why them white people following?
Single fathers and single mothers.
5KTB 505.
Better than make people cross the street. Give me a elbow.
If you have children
Come on.
ages 0 to 5.
All right, you see the fake sign over the El Pescador at G Street and Euclid Avenue at 8:38 a.m.
Yes, they will.
That's
I
5K.
guarantee you I'll never go to
Yeah, I think I read that one. 5CCE 989.
They took me to jail. I'm not doing that shit. Motherfucker stanking up in that motherfucker. Stanking up. Look, dude. Where's my car? Oh, she know where it's at. Your car, you broke? Yeah. Probably sick, dude. I ain't gonna put a
8HDV 630. 7EHL 820. 8AQF 478. 8SFS 000.
You'll be all right.
7YKR 184.
You gotta do it.
6TJW 348.
I be leaving shit everywhere, right? Why do people keep turning their lights?
License 8HVP 646.
I'm a soldier.
7DNX 200.
I will be. Hey, man.
Stop requested.
8DZA 282, I believe.
We out here.
7YHR 871.
I ain't gonna see my stupid nephew. Oh, that damn phone.
6TBE 203. BV28B82 paper. Air X, their group stalking in relevant position. I'll show you the commercial vehicle. Air X is the name of that company at 1108 Euclid Avenue. And while the entity gets off, Air X is in perfect alignment with literally the seat that I'm sitting on the bus. You're understanding what are not coincidences. This is called group stalking. Stalking in the path is what the entity is doing with light. This is what the entity is doing as an entity, maintaining very precise positioning all around me. Doing so with regard to the bus stops where the bus stops. Minions engage in what is that very precise positioning. And Air X is a sex offender while the entity is touching me with directed light, while David opens and closes the bus. Again, David is employee 2366. And this is on Euclid Avenue. We're currently at Princeton Street and Euclid Avenue. And it's at 8:41 a.m. 7MNM960. 8SZA200.
I still walk down the street. I thought you were straight from San Bernardino. You're from no San Bernardino. All the people walking.
6EVX766 8TLC903.
I was born in
6NRW976 5XXG567 6MQA204.
I used to live on this street right here. You love my street. You told me you're from San Bernardino, man.
8NIM772.
Dusty ass shoes in the winter. Oh, you got some dusty shoes. Dusty shoes. Look at that, man. What dusty shoes? Stacey Adams, right here.
Group stalking the people of the state at relevant position at 1458 Euclid Avenue. License 8EAG 570. 1506 Euclid Avenue. The people of the state, group stalking. License 7BPX 390. And this is in the city of what is still Ontario. We're approaching Upland. At Deodore and Euclid Avenue, this is still Ontario. It's like right there at the line between Ontario and Upland. 7AEH 754.
That's my street right here. My friends live on that street. My friends live on that street, Ontario. This is Uptown. Now we in Uptown, Tree City. Everybody smoke weed out here. Look at all these trees. Man, you just switched up on me now. I'm Mexican right now.
8EAG 570. Direct the light while they get onto the 10 freeway. That's a demon. This is what is state surveillance. That's how expansive it is. Just getting onto the freeway, direct the light while they cross path. Innovage. Looks like there's a group stalking, crossing path. 7WKC275 8HSV897. 7HTM939 SALLARY.
Damn! I gave her a $15 car for $5.
7JUV713. 5P18411.
Everything I'm tweaking. Look at the little gingerbread man's house is right there. Look.
8RNL688.
Dude, I used to live on this corner. Tore down all the houses.
7VNM835.
Watch out for that car.
Stop requested. If possible, please retrieve.
Look, my other right here.
8LSK801. 7X23836.
Trans is encouraging regular riders to try to find their bike and transit as a viable option. Thank you for riding out on
Waterman? You live on Waterman? Oh, yo, baby.
8HME173. All right, this is, again, bus 2343, license 1545682, getting off at 8:48 a.m. Let me make sure that's correct. Yeah, 1545682. License 7349282, 8RPZ864, 8JGW863, and this one that you hear, engaging in surveillance, a sex offender, molesting. DS662, handicap. This is at Upland Public Library in the parking lot, and minions are driving by the Carnegie Library, and that same demonic activity, which is that of the sex offender molesting with impossible light activity, meaning you're touching from a distance while you're in a car with light that's just appearing out of nowhere, and you have what is the necessity of documentation evidencing that pattern by the demon possessed who are group stalking. And that's what they're doing at Carnegie Library. 8CTU 641, 6SXX 610, 8HHH834, 7ZTE 088, 6HCE 088, 7ZTE 088, 6HCE 216. The Upland Police are engaging in the pattern of conduct as well, group stalking, and they're engaged in the sex offenses. They're in relevant position monitoring with these demons who are touching while they're patrolling. And I'll read those license plates of Upland Police right now. 8WHA862, 7YDF006, MUSKRT, 7LZV663, 8ULT017. Upland Police, license 1541461, and Upland Police license, and that's vehicle number 214. And Upland Police is license 1578909. Hi. Anyway, it is currently 9:04 a.m. LVMADSN 7PRY 930, and City of Upland, license 1603322. It is currently 9:04 a.m. and that which is not possible to the sun is over the Upland Upland City Hall, Upland Public Library parking lot area. This is how the documentation where I have already traveled to and I'm currently remaining in the city of, for example, Pomona, California, is never occurring at the same time. That's impossible that the sun would be central over my head in the city of Pomona, where I remain, as I documented on March 22nd, 2022, and also while I'm in Upland and remain in Upland right now, and the entity is keeping the light source over me. Again, that's just an example speaking to what is the surrounding facts of this and the significance of what I'm documenting. The literally the demonic conduct. It's nothing other. There's no other way to describe it. Where the entity is touching with directed light. It's moving all across the Carnegie Library into the shade while demons are driving in and out of the parking lot area. Group stalking, and you have what is the light source that's directly above my head. This is the pattern of conduct, right? And so the Upland Police are directly engaged in that sexual violence, and so I want to read their license plates. They're fully engaged in that criminal conduct with the people of the state who are engaging in this very specific pattern of behavior that the entity is engaging in when they're monitoring and this demonic activity. And that's what is also relevant, because the entity is engaging in what is entirely demented conduct. The directed light, that's revealing what's very, very demented, very peculiar. It's disconcerting. It's super weird, to put it in regular terms as any other person. Like, that's really weird and off-putting. The question would be like, what is that? How did that happen? Where did that come from? And then you have what are people that are doing it over and over again, one vehicle after another, after another, after another. And you're just attributing it to a vehicle because it's occurring while they're driving by you. And while they do so, again, like I said, it's no respecter with regard to what is demonic. Those are demons driving school buses, demons driving Brinks security vehicles, demons driving TRW trucking, a large truck, in other words, a commercial vehicle, demons driving their own cars, okay? Demons sitting in a Corvette, demons in a police vehicles, okay? And the same exact conduct is underway that's surrounding you. This is understanding what is terrorism by the demon possessed, who are placing you under surveillance. They are monitoring, in addition to engaging and subjecting you to this sort of terrorism, their demented conduct that they're engaging in together. They're placing you under surveillance with communication devices. Their very demonic activity is directly linked to what they are doing with their phones, their cell phones, their laptops, which they are maintaining corporate presence around you as well, while they engage in this demented conduct, very obsessed consumption with their communication devices and operation of them, always in possession of them while they engage in this conduct. And also the pattern of conduct is such that this is the same demented conduct that creates a direct impact on the operation of my communication device when I'm on the internet, and the operation of internet and the ability to operate my phone, etc., which I've documented. So anyway, it's currently 9:08 a.m. and I just want to document where I'm at, what the entity is doing, and doing with regard to, again, yesterday, as I go to, for example, Upland, California, and then I return to Ontario. The entity is keeping as I'm capturing still images, which is exactly what I was speaking to. This is in conformity to the pattern of conduct, out of conformity with nature. That which is out of conformity with nature is the very pattern of conduct. And it is the crime scene, okay, where federal group stalking and monitoring is underway. That's literally where the crime is occurring. It's occurring amongst the demon-possessed. It's occurring in that demonic scene, which is surrounding you for purposes of keeping you under surveillance. And this is how you are witnessing what is the obsession of that entity that is stalking, all right? And that obsession is born of that condition. It's directly linked, as I keep referencing the demonic, because it is their condition. And the demon-possessed, they are revealing their obsession through that environment that you are surrounded by, as opposed to what they would have anyone else focus on, their nonchalant disposition, the way in which their discourse, engaging in conversations or activity that's on the surface supposed to be appear distinct and separate from the one alleging that they're a target individual, appearing as though you are disinterested, again, maintaining that sense of anonymity, strangers that are surrounding. This is what the demon-possessed population are relying on. And what you are witnessing are a bunch of psychopaths. Their obsession is clearly illustrated through the environment, the cartoon environment that they are intentionally present in, and a bunch of psychopaths that are very unpersuasive while they are stalking in that environment, okay? And then obsessively stalking. They engage in even more hovering stalking activity, the more that you reveal the fact that they are indeed the puppets of Satan, and that they're engaged in stalking together while they're monitoring in violation of federal law. So anyway, it's currently 9:09 a.m. and the light source is not anywhere in Ontario. It's right here over the Upland Public Library, where I sit at the Veterans Monument, just as I captured the day before yesterday, in direct conflict with what I did yesterday. I came to Upland and I went right back to Ontario, and I remain there. The sun is not remaining, first of all, as I documented yesterday. Big picture, take a step back. The entity kept the fake sun on the same block all day, from morning until evening. That is not the sun. In addition to that, that light source remained directly over me, and that is speaking to what is in conflict with what is documented. The entity is keeping what is supposedly the sun, which by virtue of engaging in keeping the sun over the Upland Public Library, a single address, from morning until time of my exit, which is 6 p.m., after 6 p.m. That's not the sun. All right. But nonetheless, while the entity engages in that, an abrupt departure as I engage in something different, going to the county building on Hope Boulevard, going to what is returning to the Ontario Museum of History and Arts, where I got up in the morning and the fake sun is present. As you see, directed light, the Ontario Police in relevant position. The light source is present. This is at or around 8:05 in the morning. And the entity is maintaining, actually it's before 8:05 in the morning, but I walk off the property around this time. This is where the light source is. And at 1:45 p.m. yesterday, the entity has a fake sun, because that's not the natural environment. And that's why it's referred in such terms, because you need to recognize what is the alternate environment, the unnatural environment, contrary to what science suggests, the way that the environment works and operates in the environment that surrounds us. Right. So anyway, it's currently 9:11 a.m. and that light source is over in Upland, and this is exactly where it remains, which is in conformity to the pattern of conduct of stalking with a light source, and out of conformity with what is the sun. This is P.O.C. Excuse me. Come on. 12:44 p.m. Okay, sorry. Anyway, it's 12:44 p.m. This is group stalking inside of the venue, filled with directed light. This is federal stalking in the bathroom up in public library. All right. As I stated, I would expound upon at length in a discussion regarding the pattern of conduct encountering the Ontario Police Department this morning. I did document what is the presence of the Ontario Police, and by presence, it's very specific jargon, okay? Group stalking is about presence. Group stalking is about presence in a very specific environment, and that environment is what I continue to publish with regard to the documentation showing what is a criminal act that's underway by a government in concert with the people of the state of California. And so with regard to my using the term presence, this is, again, the Ontario Police. I'm at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts this morning and overnight, where the entity is engaged in obsessive stalking, stalking by helicopter, stalking by audible activity, occurring under the guise of what is a train. That same alleged train is that which is occurring when there's no physical train on the tracks, there's no train in motion, and it occurs with simultaneity to what I'm physically doing, or what I'm doing on the internet, on my communication devices, which is the same demonic behavioral pattern. In other words, the sound of a train is nothing other than the maintenance of audible activity, the guise under which demonic activity is underway, by the way. This is the pattern of conduct that I remain subject to. So you do have what is presence by the Ontario police, who are monitoring on an ongoing basis, monitoring the entire night, for example, monitoring all morning, monitoring on an ongoing basis while I am basically in the District of Ontario. That's the pattern of conduct, the state system. And the agencies, the police agencies, they're monitoring whatever city you're in, that police station, that sheriff's department, they're engaged in the state system. All right, and so this is what's underway in Ontario. And as the Ontario police are physically present, I am encountering them, I'm in an exchange with them, a verbal exchange with them. You have what is the ongoing pattern of conduct. They are monitoring before they are physically in my presence, such that I'm aware that they are present, okay? They're engaging in ongoing surveillance. I'm subject to federal group stalking and monitoring, and that doesn't change when they approach me at the museum. And so I want to make sure I clarify that. There's nothing new with regard to the encounter that I'm going to document now. With regard to the pattern of conduct, the same exact unlawful threat exists. The same unlawful presence. Group stalking is about criminal presence. The government does not have any right to place an American citizen under surveillance. It's in violation of the Fourth Amendment. You don't have any warrant. You have no probable cause. It's in violation of existing federal law. You're doing it under what is a matter of public corruption. It's that which is embedded into society. It is unlawful in every regard, as I've explained that before. This is entirely criminal presence, and this is where the government is engaging in this criminal system. It is the absence of any legal form. When I use that term form, I'm referencing you don't have any legal excuse. There is no alibi. There is no exception. There is no outlier. There is no, with regard to a prosecution for the criminal activity that you are engaging in. You are engaging in and with the state of California, on behalf of the state of California. Indeed, the state of California is relying upon your joint presence. There is no exception to prosecution for that. And presence, in and of itself, is criminal, okay? Presence is what group stalking is, and this is how you are monitoring, and this is how the government is monitoring through the people of the state. And so, again, I want to go through all that. That's prefacing what I want to document. The Ontario police are present physically. As I encounter them, they approach me, and these are two officers. Officer Jacques, I believe it's spelled Jacques, appears to be a Caucasian male, and he's with another officer, an African-American male whose name I do not immediately recall, but I have documented this specific, understand this is documentation of an entity, this is documentation of the police agency, the law enforcement agency, the Ontario Police Department, first of all. But let me be clear, I have specifically documented this particular officer, and this was at the Ovitt Family Community Library, and if I recollect correctly, this is December 2021. Where they are present pursuant to what is another iteration of nothing other than criminal summoning. All right. This is an African American male, olive skin, perfectly respectful in his speech and everything, and did not engage in what is assaulting me or physically harming me, touching me in any way, which is, again, that's a whole other level of a threat. No, that did not occur, but you're understanding what is the strip down of a system. It is inherently threatening while you're subject to group stalking. Everyone around you is monitoring. And then you're talking about what is the condition. This is the ongoing enhancement to the ongoing terrorism that you're subject to while the government is engaging in surveillance. And so those that are of this condition, demon possession, those that are cloaked in the authority of law enforcement, engaging in criminal activity, and engaging in what is, as I've documented before, exercising fictitious authority under the law, literally creating, you're talking about fictitious allegations, fictitious warrants in order to engage in kidnapping. These are all of the threats that are born, they're inherent to the pattern of conduct where the demon-possessed law enforcement agencies are engaged in the P.O.C., and I've documented that before, okay? And this is why that threat is in no way ever lessened. The threat posed by the police departments are only increased based on their conduct, what they do while they're monitoring, and what they do and say while they're monitoring you. It is never decreased. It is inherently threatening. You are monitoring whether you are offering me coffee in group stalking. You are monitoring while you are offering resources to me while you are group stalking. And so let me make that perfectly clear. But like I said, the Ontario police are present and by admission present pursuant to what is criminal summoning of the City of Ontario. And that is out of the mouth of the Ontario police, and that's information that is used against the entity. This police officer is stating, oh, they were summoned. They didn't use the word summoned, but that's what it is. It's criminal summoning. They got a call from the City of Ontario based on their encounter with me, which was not while I was laying down sleeping in my sleeping bag. That encounter that I documented on video under the fake sun, while the Ontario police were engaged in surveillance, entering the parking garage around while I'm being surrounded with directed light at the same intersection where I've documented that which is not possibly the sun. This is at around 8 o'clock in the morning where I'm documenting this encounter just the other day, but I've documented that same exact iteration of the P.O.C. actually. The Ontario Police Group stalking, crossing path, engaging in surveillance, going into the parking garage, and it was at they are crossing path at 3 o'clock, after 3 o'clock in the afternoon, at the same exact intersection. And I referenced this on the documentation. That's what the officer is referencing. We had an encounter. That encounter is published on video. It's criminal conduct that I'm subject to and I'm documenting, while even the City of Ontario is at that time engaging in what is criminal summoning. Getting on your phone, what are you doing? Calling the police? Oh, you're calling the police that are already monitoring with you? It's absolutely asinine. But anyway, that's very serious criminal activity, though. Let me be clear. That pattern of conduct, that conduct right there, easily mutates into what is a kidnapping. That is no small thing whatsoever, okay? Absolutely intolerable by the entity that's monitoring you. So nonetheless, this is what he's stating. He got a call from City of Ontario who want to do landscaping, and so they didn't want to approach me, so they called the Ontario police. That's an admission, okay? And that's criminal summoning, and it does not matter how friendly that exchange is. Remember, this is advocacy. Not only documentation, not only prosecution, this is advocacy. Now, on behalf of the ordinary targeted individual who was subject to what is a threat by virtue of your identity, by virtue of the ongoing pattern of conduct, by virtue of the environment that you are surrounded by, which is captured in the still images of the Ontario police who are present in the path. They're group stalking. That conversation is audible activity. The people of the state are patrolling in relevant position. The City of Ontario, by admission of the Ontario police, are monitoring with the Ontario police. Like I said, it does not change. That's grounds of federal prison. But nonetheless, I want to document this exchange. And so they come and they wake me up. They wake me up very politely, very respectful. Okay, they're not cussing at me. They're not engaging in, like the Ontario police have engaged in before while they were monitoring. Like I said, that's just speaking to what is a rise in the threat level. There's no decrease in that threat level, though. And so this is just inherent to what is the pattern of conduct, and flipping what is that malicious system on its head. The Ontario, well, not the Ontario police, but the police in general, their purpose and what is a state surveillance system is to instill fear, is to deter justice, is to deter documentation, to obstruct justice, to engage in whatever criminal means, because it's criminal. All right, you're on the wrong side of the law while then you're exercising your position while Satan is wearing a police badge, Satan is wearing the sheriff's badge, Satan is sitting in the courtrooms, sitting on the bench as a judge, and Satan is exercising power with the district attorney's office and the public defender's office, and they're all monitoring. It's state surveillance. This is terrorism, engaging in criminal conduct. So, like I said, that threat is very, very real, and it is an ongoing, perpetual threat, in no way decreased, but it is relevant in the way in which that exchange goes. And so the Ontario police are present this morning, and they are at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts, where I'm already documenting what is exactly underway. The fake sun is over the venue. The entity, as I documented on video, stalking by helicopter, that same exact entity is still monitoring me while the Ontario police then physically approach me and just state, no big deal, they just want to do landscaping. And they stated that they had an encounter with me. That encounter, again, as I stated, I document on video, and that based on what he heard from that encounter, the person that they encountered was a very intelligent, well-spoken woman, so he automatically knew that it was Erica Spencer. And so I just want to be clear, That is BS. They're monitoring. They know exactly who I am. I'm subject to surveillance. The government is group stalking by helicopter. The government is group stalking by that very law enforcement agency. They already know who I am. This is what is the audible activity that is created while they are monitoring, and this is the form, and while criminal summoning is the method of approaching me. And so I just want to relay what that officer stated. And that is pretty much the pattern of conduct. And so I also want to give you, let's juxtapose that with what are the same exact facts and mutate that into what is a very real threat to the ordinary targeted individual, where the police are approaching you. And let me be clear, the very purely economic situation that the targeted individual is reasonably subject to, namely being homeless, all right, and the inability to work any job where you are fully educated, as myself, by the way. This is just ongoing, but even any ordinary target individual that, I mean, perhaps you don't have to go to college to be a target individual or go to law school. That may not be the background of the ordinary target individual, but this is my particular background. And so this is not based on an inability to work, an unwillingness to work. You're talking about what is that which is reasonably foreseeable to occur where a government is targeting you, threatening your life at the workplace, group stalking you on the job. Okay, those who are practicing law, those minions that are sworn to take an oath, they are group stalking, documented this, experienced it, a threat, a very unlawful threat, a high level threat while you are at the workplace. And then again, the entity engaging in what is this threat, while you cannot work under those circumstances, you do not get any justice where the entity is placing you under surveillance and you're subject to this terrorism by the entity where you work. All right. It's a threat to your life. And by the way, I paid too much money. I paid too much with regard to the effort and all of the work that I put into achieving my college education and my law education, passing the bar and practicing law. And I should have every right to work wherever it is that I want and be free from this sort of criminal activity by government. But that's not what happened. Okay. And so this is an economic status that is, again, directly precipitating from the criminal conduct of the government. That's directly relevant when you're approaching me and I'm sleeping outside at the museum. Okay. And not only that, you know exactly who I am because this is the criminal conduct that you are engaging in. And by the way, when I went back into the workforce in March of 2021, what happened? Okay, I'm asking a question you would know the answer to if you're paying attention to my documentation, but I'm also asking a question that I already know the answer to. And I documented it, okay? Country Village apartments in Riverside County in Jurupa Valley. The entity is keeping a fake sun over this apartment complex. The entity is keeping a fake sun while I'm going from Economy N, getting on the 60 freeway, while Tracy Banks is driving the vehicle, the third party monitoring with the people of the state. The entity keeping a fake sun over that apartment complex where I'm engaging what is property management, all right? This is a trade that I have in my back pocket. I could do that at any time, something that I have, which I would do on the side while I was also practicing law. Not able to engage in what is exercising a constitutional right, all right? A right, my liberty to engage in working, to provide for myself, right? You have what is the entity that is group stalking by commercial airline planes over my head, documented on video. The entity that is amplifying helicopter activity inside of the work office, documented. Okay? Documented on podcast, stepped out, captured that on video. The entity keeping a fake sun, the entity molesting, harassing, terrorizing with directed light amongst those demons who worked at Country Village apartments in Jurupa Valley. This is all documented. This is speaking to what is the criminal conduct, what is the unlawful threat, the terrorism, and what is also the unjust result that the targeted individual faces while the criminal conduct of the government continues. This is all this is relevant while then the Ontario police are approaching me while I'm sleeping outside at the Ontario Museum, where this obsessed stalker is still stalking and monitoring by helicopter and by police at the very venue where I am sleeping outside. Okay, so I just want to be clear from beginning to end. This is the fruits of the criminal conduct of the government that's engaging in what is federal group stalking and monitoring. And while I am encountering the Ontario police, who by admission are stating they are there by criminal summoning by the city of Ontario, you have what is this encounter that occurred at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts. And so, again, with regard to, you will juxtapose that with what is easily the same information, the same facts. all right, summoning the police while you are homeless, again, based on what's the criminal conduct of the government in the first place. And you have the entity that's engaging in what is harassment while they arrive by the police, stating that they have a warrant for your arrest. Stating that basically you're an outlaw, and engaging what is arresting you and putting you in jail, not taking you to any court dates, engaging in what is an absolutely made up case from the outset. You don't even have a warrant. There's not even an existing criminal case, and you are sitting in jail, not having any court hearings. You are subject to what is the same exact pattern of conduct of molestation with directed light, demons that are stalking with noise, the entity amplifying helicopter activity while they are unlawfully keeping you in jail, and then stating that there is some criminal case while you are not in any process of any legal matter whatsoever as you're sitting in jail, which is documented on surveillance cameras. You are sitting in a jail, and there is no legal process in the works. You're not going to any court dates. They are keeping you there, trying to force you to participate in a fictitious prosecution by restarting a fake case by submitting to an arraignment, a duplicate arraignment. The entity engaging in what is then stripping you nude, all right, using force to then kidnap you inside of a mental ward, because they not only want to kidnap you and doing so pursuant to what is alleging a warrant where there's not even an actual case in process. It doesn't exist. I did not somehow become a criminal. That didn't happen. You kidnapped me at the outset, and then you sought to create a criminal case. And then in order to do so, you kept me in jail unlawfully, engaged in what is an entirely fictitious prosecution. That's why when you repeatedly engage in kidnapping and claiming fake warrants, I did not go to any court hearings. I sat in jail on surveillance cameras, which was fully documented. All right. And you have what is the same exact facts while you're present pursuant to what is an entity that is monitoring you, then summoning the police who are monitoring you as well, easily engaging in what is an escalation of a non-situation. A non-situation insofar as the very economic status that you hold is based on the criminal conduct of that government that's placing you under surveillance. It's their criminal conduct that has caused this. And then you're subject to that ongoing criminal conduct. And this very same quote-unquote harmless encounter is that which, under the same exact facts, easily mutates into what is a kidnapping, okay? The ordinary targeted individual is subject to what is an unlawful threat to your life and to your liberty. All right. While the entity also seeks to not only kidnap you in jail, but then, as I have documented, then dress you as though you're crazy. You're kidnapping, and then you just want to put me in the uniform of and I don't want to use the term crazy. Perhaps there are those that actually suffer with some sort of mental incapacities or whatnot, but that is not the case here. And this is exactly what this entity engaged in, and essentially engaging in the same conduct, but doing it in what's a quote unquote friendly way. And I want to be clear, there is no friendly method of group stalking and monitoring. There is no friendly method. And so this is what I wanted to expound upon. And again, as the same elements, the same hallmarks are present as you see the Ontario police walk away. I'm capturing a still image of these officers who are monitoring me, and you see the directed light underneath the shaded structure of that museum, impossible light activity. While even as I've shown what's not possibly the sun that remains over me, even if I did not have that documentation, that impossible light activity is revealing all its direct evidence of the P.O.C. that you're subject to, because the sun that would be above a building is not aiming light, doing gymnastics to reach underneath that structure. All right, and you can see that directed light. And this is also a part of what is an ongoing body of evidence that already exists. The entity is engaged in a pattern of stalking with the fake sun, which is present while the Ontario police are present by admittedly criminal summoning. And so I wanted to expound upon that. It needs to fully recognize that, and this is what I'm documenting with Officer Barbula at Starbucks. He goes out of his way. He knows he's being documented. Goes out of his way. I want to be clear what this minion is doing. Offering on camera while I'm documenting the directed light and the fake sun, a scientific impossibility. This is surrounding the entity with evidence of what you are, a demon, and your criminal conduct. And not only that, that's very, very, very bad when you're a police officer, all right? You're talking about what's federal prison on multiple levels, okay? And so offering me coffee, which is what Barbula does on camera, that's not in any way decreasing the threat. Remember, this is not only documentation, it's not only prosecution. This is advocacy, the ordinary targeted individual and the threat to your life that you are subject to on an ongoing basis. So that is the encounter, and that is criminal summoning inside. I'm outside at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts this morning, and I did capture those still images of that environment. And then again, as I walk off the property, it's the same exact pattern of conduct. With the Ontario police are admittedly in relevant position while they approach me. They're at the intersection as I'm documenting, again, Ontario Montclair School District, a demon driving that school bus, molesting me with directed light. All right, this is terrorism, and the pattern of conduct is underway, and it was underway while the Ontario police were approaching me. I'm walking on then Euclid Avenue, and it's the ongoing sex offenses underway. These demons are molesting me with directed light while they are group stalking. And the Ontario police are in a vehicle on what is Lemon in relevant position while this ongoing molestation is underway, as I have left the property of the Ontario Museum of History and Arts this morning. So this is reflected in the images that I capture as the Ontario police do walk away. And like I stated, oh yeah, just absolutely friendly conversation. There's nothing overtly on its face threatening about the conversation itself. All right, this is not how you analyze federal group stalking and monitoring. First of all, you're dealing with malice, you're dealing with Satan, you're dealing with an entity that's also confronting one who is documenting their criminal activity. And also when you are documenting the criminal conduct of a malicious entity such as the state of California, you are mindful of what is that pattern of conduct that does not in any way change. And in addition to that, what is the threat that is posed to the life of the American citizen, the ordinary target individual, who is subject to this, what is surveillance and terrorism. And it doesn't matter it does matter with regard to what is the increasing level of a threat, but that level of a threat is already high and it has never decreased. When you want to, in other words, you're not able to balance out the threat that you're a police officer engaging in group stalking, which you are as a matter of evidence, when you are making some friendly conversation. That doesn't change. And this is the same exact analysis that you would apply when you are documenting and prosecuting any stalker. In this case, the stalker under federal group stalking monitoring, guess what? The stalker is the state. The stalker is a public entity, as unprecedented as that is. And you are not changing what is the analysis of that of that threat that's posed. Your stalker, say, let's change it to the traditional stalking scenario, an individual that is stalking you. Is it any less threatening when someone who you're documenting stalking you day in and day out is then coming up and approaching you and saying, hey, how's it going? Do you want some coffee? Can I get you a cup of coffee? Is that any less threatening when they are stalking you and then they're smiling in your face and offering to buy you something while they are engaging in what is absolutely no less threatening stalking conduct as you are documenting and they know you're documenting it? The answer is no. It's actually very creepy. It's even more threatening. Okay. It's entirely malicious. This is the psychopath. All right. And so it's the same with regard to what is the stalker that is seeking to engage in a friendly conversation. OK, so I'm one that is documenting. I'm one that is seeking to establish what shall be uniform policy. And so this is an encounter that I'm subject to because the entity is stalking me and monitoring me. But like I said, this is worthy of documentation and for information and for tutorial purposes of understanding what is not changing the analysis and what is not in any way reducing the threat. And this is the analytical approach to any stalking conduct. Under federal group stalking and monitoring, the government is a stalker. Okay, it's 1:14 p.m. I am at the Ontario Museum of History and Art. I am at the Upland Public Library, and this is where I'm just now engaging in what is I'm adding this onto my documentation for the day. The entity is engaging in surveillance, as I just documented, inside of the bathroom of the Upland Public Library. And I wanted to expound upon that particular iteration of the P.O.C. this morning at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts. And this is the P.O.C. that is ceaselessly underway as I remain inside of the venue of the Upland Public Library, where, again, yesterday I'm at the county building. At 1:45 p.m., actually, I remain at the Ovid Family Community Library, where the entity is aiming light through across the staircase as though the sun is directly above the Ovid Family Community Library, which is not coexisting at the same time. It's not over the roof of the Upland Public Library where you're seeing what is directed light that is filling the grounds, as is the ongoing pattern, as I've shown on more than one occasion. But that's exactly what's going on today. That's mutually exclusive. The entity is engaging in the P.O.C. And doing so in what is that scientific impossibility, which is shown through the environment. That's not sunlight that's on the ground, and that's also not the sun that's possibly over the roof of the Upland Public Library. While you are understanding the system, the entity is maintaining presence, which is the demonic. The entity is maintaining a light source over you and following and surrounding with what is engineered light. And doing so, that is mutually exclusive to what is the light source that's supposedly over the roof of the Ovid Family Community Library, that's the only reasonable explanation for what's supposed to be sunlight, right? You're using Satan's own pattern of conduct against it. All right, that's supposed to be the sun and that's supposed to be sunlight. Well, then that's also not the sun over the roof of the Upland Public Library, and nor is that sunlight that's on the floor and all over the walls inside of the Upland Public Library. The two are not occurring at the same time, and it's also not occurring at the same time for the duration of the day. It's also not occurring while I go yesterday from the Ovid Family Community Library on Route 61 to the San Bernardino Department of Human Services, where I am after going to the Ovid Family Community Library to the Ontario Museum of History and Arts at 1:45. Right now it's 1:17 p.m. and so I am at this exact time capturing video of the fake sun that's over me at the Ovid Family Community Library. All right. And as you'll reference my documentation, I am fully spelling out the P.O.C. as this is the case. Directed light is aiming through the roof of the Upland Public Library as though that it would be the sun or could be the sun, and it is not, and it could not be. This is capturing the demonic, and this is the system that I'm subject to. And like I stated, it's currently 1:17 p.m. And yesterday I'm at the Ovid Family Community Library at this time. So yeah, this is the P.O.C. And at the Upland Public Library, where the entity, as I documented, is monitoring me inside of the bathroom, then that is the sex offender engaged in that obsessive stalking with the entity that likes to engage in stalking me by helicopters and airplanes. All right, this is P.O.C. All right, the sex offender that are the demon-possessed entity, the people of the state, stalking in the bathroom and doing so while the entity is amplifying what is the impossible sound of, first of all, police sirens. Second of all, the elevator. These are methods of audible activity creation inside of the private space. This is that demon-possessed entity that is placing you under surveillance monitoring, and also then stalking inside, physically stalking inside of the bathroom. That is entirely creepy and terrorizing conduct. This is literally terrorism in the private space when you're engaging in private activity where you should have the right to use the restroom outside of a government placing you under surveillance, and a bunch of demons who are obsessively stalking, which is also illustrated in the video that I captured at 4:05 p.m., where you're looking at what is the impossible, because the sun is not hovering over the entrance of the Stater Brothers at 646 West Halton, Ontario, as I captured 24 hours ago, and also over the roof and remaining over the roof from my time of entry this morning. That is a virtual impossibility. It's a scientific impossibility, and I'm capturing that on video. These demons are pacing in that video, including children, stalking, pacing all around, and now stalking in the bathroom as the entity, and this is understanding the big picture, the entity is an obsessed stalker, monitoring with the entity that likes to stalk by helicopter, right? This is the entity that is in the bathroom stalking, and then surrounding you with what is absolutely impossible noises while they are monitoring you, all right? While in operation of no communication device, by the way. I'm not holding on to any phone while I'm reaching for it, while pulling my panties down. This is the obsessed stalker that follows into the bathrooms. And here's another one patrolling in. This is for purposes of crossing paths, just like you see on the video at 4:05. All right, and this is the violent sex offender that are the people of the state. And it is currently 4:23 p.m. It is 4:24 p.m. This is audible activity creation in the bathroom. Flushing the toilet while the minion walks in and out. Go ahead. It is currently 4:24 p.m. This is patrolling in and out of the private space at the Upland Public Library. Hello. Alrighty, it is currently 4:24 p.m. and as I was stating, the entity is patrolling in and out of the private space and doing so using what are equally third-party conduct, minions under the age of majority to enter in crossing path, and doing so pacing in and out in engineered light. And so the little minion that you see running up the stairs in directed light, she's running back into the bathroom. That's called pacing. And these are the people of the state that are just sending in minors. This is the entity that is a sex offender and is engaging in what is that same exact activity creation, that same exact patrolling conduct, while communication devices maintain presence in the bathroom, while presence is maintained inside of that private space on behalf of that state, while the people of the state are just sending in their underage little minions to do so. I want to be clear. And this is the entity that's monitoring documentation and exposing their minions that they supposedly love so much would protect to be documented, because the entity is being documented. And they are sex offenders nonetheless, and sending minion children to engage in sexual violence with the state. That's how that's analyzed, because it is sexual violence. It's in the private space. It's ongoing surveillance, and they're sending in children to engage in that conduct while the entity is sitting back and also monitoring documentation. All right, it's 4:26 p.m., and that's what's represented when you're seeing underage third parties with the people of the state on behalf of the state. That is stalking inside of the bathroom. It's 4:26 p.m. This is up in public library, again, facilitating sexual violence with those under the age of majority. It is the moments after capturing, again, the video that I show at 4:05 p.m., where that which is not possibly the sun is over the up in public library. This is the private space where the entity is pacing in the bathroom now. This is that psychopath that's flying in circles by helicopter, pacing in and out of the bathroom. And this is how you're witnessing that obsession. Okay, so what you're looking at is, again, the minions that are pacing in and out, and these are minions that are monitoring, group stalking, just sending in your little kids to walk in and out of the bathroom, go inside of the bathroom stall, walk around, walk in and out, run upstairs, one back, monitoring with this other minion. She appears to be a teenager. The same exact moment that I am in operation on my phone, you see her looking at her phone. This is a demon that knows exactly what I'm doing on my phone as I do it. And she's also stalking in the bathroom while the entity is sounding sirens, impossible audible activity, and also sounding what is the sound reminiscent of the elevator, impossible activity. This is sexual violence by proxy, okay? Sending in the people of the state, violent sex offenders, sending in children to create activity, to cross path, to pace in and out while monitoring, okay? That is P.O.C. It's 4:27 p.m. at Up in Public Library. Okay, I'm sorry. I wanted to get your name again.
My name is Cindy.
Cindy? Okay, I always forget your name. And I don't think you ever told me your name. Somebody called you Mama Library before.
Yes, I know. My name is Kristen.
Oh, yeah, Kristen. Yeah, somebody called you that. Okay. All right. No, I'm not. Okay, thank you. All right, they are monitoring in the restroom with the underage minions that are running in and out. These minions that are sitting, engaging in surveillance in the in the library, who you also see pacing around in Engineer Light as I'm capturing video. They are monitoring while activity is created, while the people of the state send in underage children to engage in activity creation in the bathroom. And that is, again, Cindy and Kristen telling me their names. I'm documenting the sex offenders that are monitoring with the underage children. This is sexual violence, and you're understanding the crime of monitoring by the state while you are sexually violating, sexually offending another, invasion of privacy by an entity. All right, while you're also posing the impermissible threat. This is an entity, a demon-possessed one, that's monitoring documentation. And then sending in what are underage minions, which is sexual violence that you are engaging in with underage children. That is the prosecution of, first of all, the Upland Public Library. All right, you're talking about the venue itself, engaging in that criminal conduct. It's a facilitating venue. That's why the fake sun is over the roof at 4:05 p.m. When it's over the roof in that same exact position early in the morning when I get here, that's not the sun. In addition to what I pointed out in the video, it's also not the sun that's over the Stater Brothers at the same exact time yesterday as I remain in Ontario. And then I walk down Hope Boulevard to get to the bus stop, and then I get on Route 83 and I ride northbound to get to the city of Upland. No, that's not the sun that's over the roof. In other words, that's not the natural environment. This is the pattern of conduct. And those sex offenders then engage in what is the obsession. This is the obsession that you're witnessing. So their obsession is, as they engage in what is this demonic pacing in and out of the bathroom, and they're doing it by proxy. They're just sending in their children, their little demon-possessed minions, to engage in activity creation, right? And so, like I said, this is the same exact activity creation inside of a private space. This is absolutely disgusting and despicable conduct by a demon-possessed population, also indicative of, again, the threat that the demon-possessed population pose not only to children that they are in any custody or guardianship over, as they are sexually offending, sexually violating, terrorizing, group stalking another person, and they also are including minor children in that unspeakable criminal conduct. All right, that's very sick and demented. And that is a level of abuse to minor children as well. The entity is routinely engaging in this. All right, this is the conduct of Satan. This is lawlessness. This is sexual violence that is done covertly, and I'm exposing what the entity is doing. And I'm also not only exposing it, I'm translating that into how you would prosecute it, just like any other violent sex offender who would engage in sexual violence with children, who would engage in the corruption, the delinquency of minors, while engaging in what is entirely demented. This is demonic conduct. The criminalization of that demonic activity is relevant to the way in which you're prosecuting as well. And this is what the entity is engaging in the bathroom. And so that's what I was pointing out. While literally these little cockroach minions are just running in and out of the bathroom, they're monitoring. They're monitoring and doing so at the bidding of their demon-possessed parents, whoever brought those little minions to the library, and they're engaging in criminal conduct. And this is what I mean. I documented a very good example of this at the Paul Bunyan Library, where you have what is actually the unthinkable, the converse, where ordinarily, traditionally speaking, when you are thinking about sexual violation, and the scenario includes children and adults, obviously you're going to assume a child has been violated, right? And actually with federal group stalking and monitoring and the conduct that's done on behalf of an entity, the entity is engaging in what is sexually perverted, what is sexually offensive, sexually violent conduct by children, in concert with children to violate another. I happen to be an adult. All right, and that is, again, you're understanding what the entity represents. The entity is doing so on behalf of the government, and the entity is acting adversely against the targeted individual. And they're targeting somebody in a bathroom. And not only targeting somebody in a bathroom, they're targeting somebody in a bathroom whose documentation they maintain real-time knowledge of. They are literally trying to obstruct the ability to upload it on the internet, while then they are still constantly stalking you in a bathroom. That's a sex offender, and that's an obsessed stalker. And by virtue of hearing that door open and close, those bathroom stalls, the toilets, but they're creating ongoing activity in the bathroom while the entity is keeping a fake son indicative of surveillance that you're subject to, sexually offensive, amplifying the sound of sirens and an elevator inside of the bathroom, impossible audible activity, sexually offensive, sexually violent, the ongoing knowledge that you're subject to surveillance, while then demons are pacing in and out while they're monitoring. You're the focus. They're not in there trying to use the bathroom. They're in there stalking under the guise of, let me be present in what are the circumstances relevant to the type of venue where I'm stalking you at. Oh, I'm at the grocery store, so let me grab a grocery cart. I'm at Starbucks, group stalking you. I'm monitoring you, so let me grab a coffee. All right. I'm at any sort of venue. I'm on the bus. You're talking about what is getting on and off the bus. Very, very, just literally getting on the bus and taking a bus ride anywhere. Okay. If I'm I'm on the sidewalk, I'm walking outside, or I'm sitting at the bus stop, or even actually, I don't even have to be that. I could be in another vehicle on public transportation, and you have what is the group stalking conduct by those who are using commercial vehicles, such as the United States Postal Service, such as Amazon Prime, who are group stalking, engaging in what is the elements of monitoring, while I am surrounded by an entity that's acting in accord with each other, entirely demonic. Now, with regard to the private space, you have what is sexual violence that's underway and facilitated by the people of the state who are using children to engage in sexually offensive conduct on behalf of the government. That government that is stalking obsessively by helicopters, as I continuously document, is present in the bathroom through these underage demon-possessed minions who are running in and out of the bathroom at the urgency of their demon-possessed parents. Because this is everybody, all of their condition is the same, and that's revealed. That's why you have the impossible, which is, first of all, the light source, which is supposed to be the sun. This is not the natural environment. That's not possibly the sun based on the natural order of things, the natural environment, and scientific facts. Because the sun, by its definition and by its alleged process, the way it works, it's not remaining stationary over an address all day, which is what the Upland Public Library, the venue, has been engaged in. All right. While you're pacing in and out of the bathroom, you're monitoring inside of that bathroom, and you are a sex offender by virtue of engaging in that surveillance and that activity creation on behalf of the government in that bathroom. And this is the use of children to engage in that. That's directly relevant to the people of the state who are engaging in what is sexually violent and perverted predatory conduct through the use of children to do so. And so that is what I want to lay all of that out. And it is entirely obsessive conduct as they're running in and out. And it's illustrated, it's demonstrated through their pacing conduct. It's demonstrated through the video that I captured at 4:05 p.m. And you see them, everybody there, well, not everybody, but you see the sex offender, Joy. She's the Asian female, and you see the two females that walk right by me. This is at the beginning of the video. They are exiting that side hallway, knowing that I have exited the study room to capture video, and they engage in what is walking in that directed light as they're walking by, and on the superficial appearance that they're going somewhere else. They're going to do something. They're crossing path. And they're walking in the literal evidence, the engineered light with the shadow of the staircase that is inside of the shape of the window that is appearing on the floor under the light source that's directly over the staircase, which is at that same location at 10:31 in the morning, as I have specifically documented, and which is also impossible because at the same time, which is why I'm capturing the video at 4:05, I am in Ontario in front of the storefront of Stater Brothers, and you see a light source hovering over me. Joy is a violent sex offender who is monitoring with these children, who are a means of crossing path, who are a means of engaging in what is harassment as an entity, who is a violent sex offender by virtue of engaging in that sexual violation of another via children on behalf of the state. Joy is acting with third parties who are over and under the age of majority. You see the Asian male, and he's with an Asian female. They are pacing around. They get up from the desk where I am standing behind them. They are getting up, crossing path, and doing so. And then they walk around, and then they walk up the staircase. They're pacing back and forth, walking up the staircase, and you see their shadow appear in this engineered light that's on the ground. It's not sunlight, and that's not the sun that's over them. And then moments later, I go into the bathroom, and this is all pacing that I'm capturing at 4:05 in this video. And this video is documentation of what is federal stalking by an entity in the private space. All right, so not only that, but again, moments later, as I go inside of the restroom, then you have the pacing conduct that's occurring in the bathroom. In the specific environment where federal group stalking is underway, you are not engaging in what is normal conduct. These are demons that are pacing back and forth, aiming to create ongoing noise amongst engineered light, which the entity is surrounding you with, while they are stalking in the venue of a bathroom. That is entirely sick. That's why I'm breaking that down, because you need to understand how very, very disturbing the conduct of the people of the state, how sick that is. Very, very disturbing. And they would like to exhibit themselves on the outward as though they're just going to the bathroom. It's just a little kid walking in and out of the bathroom. Kids do that. They run about. They engage in what is, little kid things. That's not the case. It is that which is for a purpose and engineered light. And this is a demon that's sending their little minor children to engage in the bidding on behalf of a government. And these are malicious demons that do that. And they're violent sex offenders by virtue of their intention and their desire to do so in a bathroom. All right, you're not withholding your following conduct, your stalking activity. You want to stalk inside of the bathroom. That's a very disturbed sex offender who is engaged in obsessive stalking. And that's the people of the state that are doing so via children, all right? And it is no less sexually violent. It's no less terrorizing. It's no less disturbing. It's no less corrupt. And it is no less demented. It's even more so, actually, as the entity includes children in that pattern of conduct. And so, like I said, with regard to the documentation and prosecution of the people of the state and the state of California, all of the ways in which the entity engages in the pattern of conduct. And Cindy, for example, Joy, and Kirsten or Kristen, I get their names on purpose because they're monitoring in the bathroom. They're violent sex offenders, group stalking with the government, monitoring to this activity that these little underage minions are creating in the bathroom with this little demon-possessed teenager who is monitoring on a communication device while children are the means of ongoing noise creation in the bathroom. All right. It's currently 4:41 p.m. This is P.O.C. 692, 5GJA 535, 7E33397, 9AMC 538, 8WHM 654, 6DXT 128, 8WCY 063, I believe. Sorry, that one off. 7NHT 367, 8HHD 526. 7DSP 083, 7VSP 768, 8
The people that stayed at 477 North Euclid Avenue, directed light right over the sidewalk at this facilitated venue, right where the bus stop is located in front of that venue. That's not the sun that will be present, nor is that sunlight that will be present touching all over the bus stop area. And this is where the bus stop is located. This is the method of stalking with light. That's the demonic obsessive stalking. 7SJU 752. 7EYM 613, 50557L3, 7KCA 922, 15502X2, 96013B3, 7XJK 576. And capturing what is impossible light that is aiming through the the exit doors of the Upland Public Library at 6:46 p.m. when I'm walking out. That's impossible light, 5UAM 730. It is literally entering through what are the doors that face the Upland City Hall. Light is aimed like diagonally through the door in order to aim projected light where you could see the impossible maintenance of the fake sun. 6SRG 626, I'm sorry, not of the fake sun, of the engineered light. 6NIU 793, 5VBN 719, 8WFN 837, 98NL 021. These are all sex offenders that are monitoring me while my panties are down, and also that ongoing obsession demonstrated. 6EOB 426, while the entity goes to such length doing gymnastics with what is absolutely impossible and ridiculous light activity. Demons monitoring, 98JY231. Demons monitoring who do so through what are minor children. 8PMJ946 to inflict that sexual offense, to engage in that obsessive stalking, maintenance of presence on behalf of the state. That stalking by helicopter, that's the state present in the bathroom while these demons use children to do so. That's what that documentation reveals. 5SKJ 657. It's 6:51 p.m. License 20246W2 7S26901. And at Arrow Highway and Euclid Avenue, where I'm standing, where the fake sun is directly over my head as I'm getting off the bus, not only this morning, but also after David, employee 2366, is operating and monitoring, and I get off at Arrow Highway. The fake sun is right over my head. The fake sun remains right here at the same exact intersection, as though sunlight is going to then now aim inside of the entrance and exit doors. And I stood in it so you can see my elongated shadow. Absolutely impossible light. All right, after 6 p.m., 8ZML 956, and this is the same intersection where I stood, by the way, as I arrived at the Upland Public Library, not until after 4 p.m., right, well after 4. 8LJZ 041, 8JSV 851, MYDMND, 8PUP 951, 8VVZ 119. All of these demons are stalking and touching. 70SY 540, 04924L1, 7LHT 953. 5SKF 720, 8XYU 689, and the people of the state at third party facilitating venue 477 Euclid Avenue, they're sex offenders molesting as well. All right, it is currently 6:53 p.m.
Route
8MFL 071, 8KSW 684, 7G68 554, 7VXK 067, they're molesting. 8NIY. I can't really see the rest of them. They're group stalking at the Infinity, which is adjacent to the Arco and the Chevron on Euclid Avenue and Upland. 8PUP 951, 7FYE 304, 6ZIM 551. Monitoring with that minion at Infinity. Stalking. They're just sitting in their vehicle with their headlights on. It's a method of stalking in the path with light. 5KBZ 261.
7th Street.
6K. No, I can't see the rest. I need to see the rest. 7YCF 666. 7XHY 247. And this is employee 3560. That's what the display reveals. I believe I heard an accent. Appears to be some sort of perhaps a Caucasian male, but there's a foreign accent, so I don't know. But this is the employee display 3560, operating Route 83.
going southbound. Our ongoing molestation is underway just like yesterday. Different face, same demon possession, same third-party status. 8HOY 481, 6JZV 103. WPS 746, BT 82E52 paper. It's 6:57 p.m.
Street.
L30963. P.O.C. at American Inn. They're monitoring, which is adjacent to the Bank of America. That is monitoring as well. Bank of America in Ontario at 735 Euclid Avenue. And that is also where the plaza is. The Blink Fitness Plaza, 7YIY 673, 5AAE 499, 8ZUD 100. They're molesting. 7PFJ 583.
F Street.
6JEU 464, molesting. 7:01 p.m. Molesting at Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue. The entity flying right over the storefront, showing you the fake sun in alignment with me at that venue they're monitoring. 6YIU 960, BABESHH, 8UWD 431, Gloria's Cochinas. Relevant position, ATEE 609, 8JMW 023. 6X99705. 8UZE242, molesting.
Ontario Civic Center Transfer Station. Connecting to Lot 61.
7UHF083, molesting. Stalking in the path with light activity. 5LJK909. And again, these venues that are monitoring, the Verizon at 115 Euclid Avenue. Rosarita, I don't know what this is. A venue with the address of 111 Euclid Avenue in Ontario, California. It's got the sign above it that says Rosarito Beach. Motorcycle run. At the Ballet Spa at 109 North Euclid Avenue. Zola's Beauty Area. T-Mobile at 101 Euclid Avenue in Ontario. They are monitoring in relevant position, engaging in that sex offense while the entity molests with light. They're all molesting together. This is the people of the state at those venues. 7:03 p.m. 7ZTW 586, 7EKL 456. And again, this employee is driving, bus that I'm on, subject to the pattern of conduct, the entity molesting, my shadow appearing on both sides of on the passenger and the driver's side walls. This is an ongoing molestation that I'm subject to while the driver is operating the bus. This is terrorism while a sick entity engages in this sort of conduct, and it's in order just to keep you under surveillance, all right? And they are engaging in what is a sex offense, and that's how that's prosecuted while the entity is repeatedly and ceaselessly molesting with this engineered light. That's what the entity is doing, and as I'm also reading the
addresses of the venues in relevant position because they're monitoring, and that's why that sex offense is underway. And that includes Starbucks and the venues across Euclid Avenue while the entity keeps a fake sun through my window on Euclid Avenue while the bus drives southbound. And again, this is bus number 2343. He is currently stalking in the path with light activity, which is facilitation. License plate 1545682. It's 7:04 p.m. (202) 4th, I can't know. 8 PNW 745, 8 TDG 776, 7 AQB 823, 51982Y2, 4 ZNX 126, BN76 B98 paper, BN76 B98, yeah, that's paper. 8 AYZ 830, 8 VGH 149, 7 DSD 555, 5 FZT 168, 7 BSE 837, 8 HZK 533, 7 JMB 337, 91788H1, 8 U8 4321. 6 ZSZ021. Let's see. For FIV 456. We've got a U.S. government plate, P.O. 91961 at State Facilitating the U.S.P.S., United States Postal Service. They are group stalking. The entity keeps the fake sun over that venue. A directed light is present right now. License P.O. 91961 again. It is 7:06 p.m. XTA 103. Stalking with activity 8LWZ 768. Latino male, low buzz haircut, communication device in hand. As I start taking pictures, he's making sure he's crossing path. 8U 84321. 5 PIZ 933. Showing you what is the fake sun that is over the USPS as I'm walking on transit. This is the same street where the fake sun is over my head on Hull Boulevard at 9 o'clock in the morning. Okay, I remained on this street yesterday afternoon after going to the county building and going to returning back on Route 61. That's criminal summoning. So let me let you know who's going to federal prison for that. He's sitting here monitoring. License 8U84321. He's engaged in criminal summoning. 8RDV111, the Mestiza Cake House and Cafe. The United States Postal Service is group stalking at 123 West Holt Boulevard in Ontario, California. License 8KAU281. License. These are demons that are pacing, just like you see on video inside of the library, and engineered light. 7LHT842. 6JXF273, criminal summoning. License plate 8 VGH 149, 8 KAU 281, 6 PJP 271, 8 SGW 069, and that's the Ontario Fire Department also engaging in what is criminal summoning. This is the entity summoning itself. That's nothing but a psychopath, a demon. That's Satan with access to a fire truck, sounding sirens while these demons are pacing around. VIHARP, and that's why the people of the state and the state acting directly using such audible activity are subject to federal prison. That's an unlawful threat to your life while thousands of people are surrounding you, monitoring you together. On behalf of this government that's stalking by helicopter day and night. 5 TCT 108 by a bunch of demon-possessed police officers who are following you around, stalking. okay, for no legitimate purpose. 8XNT894, that's an unlawful threat, and that's the Ontario Fire Department. Their facilitating venue is on B Street in relevant position, by the way. They are also creating audible activity while minions such as 6JXF273 stalk in the path in relevant position in impossible light activity. 5SXB846, 5Z99052, 8HIL838, 8TBR798, MZZHEMI, 5SXB846, 7CTL392, E414SO, 8ZDU980, 6FEF555, 7MAP933, 8DCG613, 5WJS240. They are all engaging in what is criminal summoning. That's what that is. It's facilitation, massive facilitation for federal group stalking and monitoring, enabling a large amount of people all together to target you and monitor you with the government, on behalf of the government. All right, which is 4CHL665. The purpose of creation of the purpose of following with an environment. The fake sun on the same Hope Boulevard where I'm president in the morning, across the street from the same museum, and you see it over the U.S.P.S, the United States Postal Service. That's those are the feds engaging in group stalking, and the entity sounding sirens is audible activity. Noise and engineered light, demons surround. That's group stalking. Maintaining an ongoing chorus of sirens, license 8FIN475. Alrighty, capturing documentation. What is, again, the grounds of federal prison? What is that grounds of federal prison? The entity's highly utilized method of facilitation, which is criminal summoning. And I'm showing you the environment that surrounds while the entity is stalking with a method of audible activity. This is noise and engineered light, and that is sirens. All right, Mestiza Cake House and Cafe. This is the parking lot area where I read all those license plates. That's just one indication of what is present, the identification of the people of the state, wherever you are subject to that criminal system. All right, and it's the maintenance of what is not possibly the sun either. At the same intersection, the United States Post Office, license 22194Z2, 6326 ZV. I can't really see the rest of them. That was Amazon Prime though. Heavily documented. 7MWM902, 8RVY096, 8GWY147. This is P.O.C. (7:15 p.m.) License 8YJZ711, 6ROK371, 6TRH517. L44NCZ, that's out of state, 7PQG809, 6WED787, 7FYCO68, 9AQB935, 7WPM241, or excuse me, 6WPM241, 2893OW2, 81765H1. These are the violent sex offenders monitoring me while my panties are down and sending in underage children just to create activity in the bathroom. All right, sex offenders, 7LTE170, 8ZIG542, 31193M2, 8YIS605, 7HCR174, 8COV629, 22338L2. That is the highly demented and predatory conduct of this entity, which is also the state of California, acting via the people of the state, 71698N2, 8NGW521. They are also at what is the exact same intersection where I documented yesterday, 8 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and as I have continuously documented, 7 o'clock in the evening, the same intersection where that which is not possibly the sun remains over me, touching all over the venues. And even in addition to that, which is in and of itself establishing the P.O.C, it's replete with what is light that's just appearing randomly all on the building. All right, I guess it's like boomeranging off of the other building, the other wall. No, I'm not. I'm being facetious. It's that ridiculous light activity. It's that ridiculous. It's nothing other than, again, you're witnessing the demonic, and you know all of their condition. Their secret is known through that ridiculous light activity. There is the fake sun is on the opposite side of the building, albeit fake, right? You're looking at light that is inexplicable. All right, and the light source being there is inexplicable as well, but you're also looking at light that's just sitting on surfaces around.
All right, you're looking at what is the light activities. I step into it. That's that light that sits on top of me, so that sits up on surfaces. It doesn't disappear in the shade. This is Satan. This is demonic. These are demons that are monitoring, and it includes the feds, the United States Post Office. All right, and again, that office is located at 123 West Hope Boulevard. It's currently 7:18 p.m., and I've arrived at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts, which the entirety of an entity knows while they are engaged in obsessive stalking day and night, following everywhere I go. Following with an entire environment, which is nothing other than the work of Satan and all of its minions, obsessively stalking, including their little demon-possessed children, all right, which is, again, prosecuted as what is unprecedented abuse of those minors while they are nonetheless, regardless of the condition of those children. You're talking about what's prosecution for criminal conduct on behalf of the government and the people of the state. You're talking about what's abuse of children while you're using them to engage in sexual violation of another. And it is indeed sexually violent conduct while the entity is placing you under surveillance and invading your privacy as an entity, placing you under surveillance, engaging in the elements of criminal monitoring in the bathroom. All right, and you're doing it by sending in your little I won't even call any names, your little children, to create audible activity. Okay, but yes, I have observed the demon possession of children engaging in the same intuitive conduct. It's demon possession. You're talking about something that is based on what is a condition, and again, that condition is not anything that's barred by some age of majority. It's a condition that you are succumbed to, and you know that's another discussion, and I'm no preacher, so I'm not going into that. But nonetheless, it is something that is knowable based on what is the environment and the conduct, and that is unmistakable with regard to the condition of those that are engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. Again, it is exclusively criminal conduct that the entity engages in. It's demonic activity, and this is the criminalization of that demonic activity. While the entity is placing you under surveillance and engaging in all manner of what is violation of your constitutional rights, of your human rights, while government places you under surveillance with the people, and this demonic activity is achieving that criminal objective, which is federal stalking in violation of Title 18. And it's entirely demented in all the demented methods that the entity engages in. And as I revealed today, again, as I document today, the entity engaging in what is sexual violence and utilizing those under the age of majority. But that's not the first time. This is what demons are doing when they're walking in the bathroom with babies. Let me be clear. Those demon-possessed minions use those babies. They're instrumental. All right, babies start crying, babies start whining, babies start doing whatever. Those demons are monitoring you. It's activity creation. That's the objective, noise and engineered light. All right, and you're understanding what is a very sick individual. And that is illustrative of the entirety of the group because their focus is you while they happen to have children to engage in what is targeting you. All right, and that's knowable by the environment. That environment is that which is direct evidence because it is irreconcilable. There is no reconciling what is the environment that I'm documenting, reconciling it with what is the natural environment that is supported by what is science, speaking to what is not possibly the sun, and nor is that sunlight, as I have again documented, standing outside of the United States Post Office on transit, where they're engaging in federal stalking. It's 7:21 p.m., and this is P.O.C. This is criminal summoning. And that's American medical response to amplified audible activity and directed light. The people of the state are engaged in surveillance at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts. And let me be clear, this is criminal conduct as I identified more of the people of the state by license plate. For example, at the Mestiza Cafe and Cake House, the United States Postal Service. The people of the state, as I document them on an ongoing basis, are engaging in this criminal act right now as you're witnessing it. That's criminal summoning by American Medical Response and the people of the state who are documented. And the entity shall be prosecuted for it. The entity is engaging in terrorism while these demons are pacing back and forth in this engineered light, as I captured on video, and pacing above me by helicopter. I want to be clear, this is criminal conduct by the entity. And what I'm referencing is video that I captured moments ago. And now the entity is sounding sirens. That's American Medical Response engaging in that criminal act of summoning, criminal summoning. It's facilitation. And the entity is not going anywhere. It is group stalking conduct. That's why impossible light activity surrounds me and molests my person. It is the direct evidence showing what a psychopath are the demon-possessed that have access to ambulance vehicles while they are group stalking an American citizen. It is also occurring while the entity is stalking by helicopter, showing what are the psychopaths that are the demon-possessed with access to ambulance vehicles while they are doing nothing other than group stalking. All right, and facilitating the group stalking conduct by the people of the state that are monitoring with them, pacing around, by the way, in traffic on Euclid and Hall Boulevard. That's demonic pacing as well. It is 10:08 p.m. This is P.O.C. at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts.